From our studios in Kigali, Rwanda, this is RTV News. Coming up, President Paul Kagame has urged residents of Nyamasheke in the Western Province not to tolerate practices among leaders who delay to provide them with the services they need and ask for things like bribes. And sheltering the vulnerable and soil erosion control in Kigali city are among the activities that were focused on during the monthly community work Umuganda this Saturday. And later, some of the members of Rwanda's private sector have noted that as the COVID-19 measures continue to ease, economic recovery has been strengthened. Always a pleasure bringing you the latest here in Rwanda and beyond. I am Isabel Masozera. Now, top of our edition, President Paul Kagame has urged residents of Nyamasheke district in Western Province not to tolerate bad practices among leaders who delay to provide them with services and ask for things like bribes. The head of state has also stressed that such leaders cannot be accepted. Selj Ntore tells us more.
His Excellency the President visited Nyamasheke on Saturday as part of his citizen outreach initiative and was welcomed by thousands of residents. Addressing those gathered, the head of state made it clear that the country's leadership will not tolerate corrupt practices among leaders, and neither should they.
Abantu bategereza ukwezi, umwaka, imyaka, hagati aho hari n'ababigwamo kandi
People are forced to wait for months and years on end, and some are even victimized by nothing more than negligence and unnecessary delays, to the point of you, as a leader, requiring that the people you are supposed to serve first give you something before you can do anything for them, despite the fact that they have nothing to give thanks to your poor work ethics that prevent them from getting anything. It's therefore clear that whenever possible, you should reject such practices and let us know when leaders behave in that way. Corruption and bribes cannot be tolerated at work. Nyamasheke's infrastructure development was another issue the President spoke about.
Ubundi leta ifite ingamba zo gukura abantu mu manegeka.
As it is, the government has measures in place to relocate people from high-risk zones and into proper settlements, and that has been done in different parts of the country. There is no reason why it should not eventually happen in Nyamasheke as well. I have been told that 25% of health posts here are the ones that work 7 days a week. Those are far too few. And I have also been informed that some of them do not have electricity and running water. I am saying this specifically to stress that even though there are many good things we have achieved, those challenges not only negatively affect people, they also hinder our overall rate of development. I want to emphasize that we are going to deal with the matter of roads urgently.
Iby'imihanda mbisubiyeho turaza kubikurikiranira ku buryo bwihuta.
His Excellency Paul Kagame was last in Nyamasheke of the Western Province back in 2017 while campaigning, and this time around he thanked the local residents for their role in maintaining security in the district, especially recently when insurgents tried to destabilize it and was stopped by security organs with the help of the local residents.
Thank you, Sarge. Still on President Kagame's visit to Nyamasheke district, local residents expressed a lot of joy and shared different ideas of what this means to them.
This is a day we shall never forget because he promised to solve all the problems we addressed to him, like those to do with roads, electricity and clean water. We are very happy. People's problems are now in line of getting solved.
Twishimiye uruzinduko rwa Perezida Paul Kagame, nyakubahwa umuyobozi w'igihugu cyacu hano mu karere ka Nyamasheke.
We are happy with President Paul Kagame's visit to Nyamasheke district. I came to testify how I managed to develop myself from being a street child after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Motivated by his advice to the youth, we are the strength of the nation. So from being a street child, I went back to school and completed my studies. I set up a school called Hope Academy School.
Ndiga ndarangiza hanyuma nshinga ikigo cy'ishuri cyitwa Hope Academy School.
Mpamvu nahisemo kumutura umuvugo witwa Mfurifubitse Rwanda nuko nyine mubonamo nyakubahwa Perezida Paul Kagame.
The reason I decided to dedicate President Kagame my poem called Mfurifubitse Rwanda is because I see him as a parent, unique, exceptional with extraordinary ability and a catalyst for development. That is why I said, Niwe Mfurifubitse Rwanda. It is to him that we owe the reputation we have within and outside Rwanda. What I will never forget is the challenge he has left me with. Whenever I meet the president, he urges me to work hard since the fight to develop Rwandans is not only his role, but also us the youth.
Urugamba rwo guteza imbere abanyarwanda atarurwana wenyine natwe urubyiruko tubifite mu ruhari.
Perezida wa Repubulika y'u Rwanda Paul Kagame twaramushyigikiye turamutora.
We supported President Paul Kagame and voted for him. So after voting for him, it was necessary that we gather here to show him what we have achieved. I used to have 350 coffee trees, and I had set a goal of making 7,500 this year, of which I achieved. I used to earn 30,000 Rwanda francs out of the produce per season, but it has now risen to about 8 million per season.
Ariko ubu ngubu ngeze ku musaruro ugera kuri miliyoni 8 kuri sezo.
It has been a treat for the people of Nyamaseche. Now elsewhere, sheltering the vulnerable and soil erosion control in the city of Kigali are among the activities that were focused on during the monthly community work Umuganda this Saturday. Now those who participated in the community work were urged to engage in census activities with just days left before it comes to an end. Olivun Tete explains.
In various parts of the city of Kigali, the community work focused on fighting soil erosion due to the approaching rainy seasons. In Gasabo district, Ndera sector in Mukuyu Cell, the construction activities of 2 houses for the needy has been initiated. These houses will be built in the program of the month dedicated to the activities of the police. Residents participated in the community work in large numbers. They say that the monthly community work allows them to work together and assists them to solve various challenges faced daily.
We usually find solutions to our challenges. We used our efforts. There is no need of waiting for additional support.
Since we are doing activities of sheltering the homeless, we should do it willingly. The mayor of the city of Kigali, Prudence Rubingisa, notes that the community work activities of this Saturday focused on fighting soil erosion due to the upcoming rainy seasons.
Various activities were done, but it is all focused on fighting soil erosion. Because as the Rwanda Meteorology Agency has been indicating, rainy seasons are approaching, and that is why we are reinforcing measures to fight soil erosion and preserve the soil, but also by preventing various situations that may cause problems to people like those who live in high-risk zones. But in the message we were given is reiterated on urging people to do cleaning up activities, especially by unblocking the drainage system that are in front of their homes, and also by planting trees to maintain the soil, but mostly emphasizing on living in clean places.
The mayor of Kigali City also pointed out that the census has been going on well and that it is currently at 87%. Due to the few days remaining, residents are urged to participate fully in the activity.
We are only remaining with 4 days. The activity will end on 31st. And we are currently at a good rate as revealed by the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda. We are working together in sensitizing people, and I would also like to take this time to emphasize on that and remind the residents of Kigali City that have not yet participated in the activity. We are currently at 87%, and we believe that in the remaining 4 days, we will have reached the goal.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, who is also the focal point of Gasabo district, joined the residents of this district in the monthly community work. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Vincent Biruta, encouraged residents who participated in the community work to work hard to contribute to their development because no one will do it on their behalf. He once again sensitized residents who have not yet participated in the census to do it as soon as possible because it is an important activity that assists the country in drafting the budget.
My message is that we should engage in such activities of Muganda for self-development, but also for discussing about various challenges that we face in our neighborhoods, in our cell, in our village, so that we can know those problems and also play a role in solving them. That is my message. But particularly these days, we are in the census activity. We urge residents who have not yet participated to participate for the smooth running of the activity.
The minister pointed out that the sectors of the city of Kigali seem to be behind in participating in the census activities. Residents are urged to participate so that Monday the activity will be completed at 100%. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive, for that timely reminder with just days left for all Rwandans to participate in the census. Now, moving on, some of the members of Rwanda's private sector have noted that as the COVID-19 measures continue to ease, economic recovery has been strengthened, with some businesses now at 80% productivity rate, same as before the pandemic began. Adam Kwizera reports.
Some of the major effects of the COVID-19 pandemic that immediately became apparent is that in 2020, Rwanda's economy dropped to a rate of 3.4%, below zero compared to 9% that was risen in 2019. As the measures to fight this pandemic was being implemented, the economy also kept depressing. But later, it started recovering slowly due to the fact that some activities were resumed, and the government also continued to support some of the institutions that was destabilized than others. Industrialist says that the fact that the government has subsidized the tax to 25% that was charged to the imported products to get produced by local industries has made this sector boost up again.
By now, things are being recovered compared to before. As I can say, due to the fact that COVID-19 has subsided, there is a change between today and the days where we were in lockdowns. As by now, we no longer face any obstacle in work.
In the second quarter of 2022, Rwanda's economy grew by 13% compared to 11.9% in the first quarter of 2021. Agriculture accounted for 23% of the country's GDP and grew by 1%. Industries contributed 22%. In volume of production increased by 10%. And the level of specialized services to 47%, increased by 11%. The head of the Chamber of Tourism in the Private Sector Federation, Frank Gisha, is proud of that even though the tourism sector was affected by COVID-19 pandemic than others, it is currently up to 80% recovering.
We're looking at about 80% of recovery to the numbers of 2019. By the 2019 was one of our best year of achievement in tourism business. And here, of course, courtesy of the partnership and collaboration and synergies between the private sector and public sector, thanks to efforts from government through RDB and other stakeholders. And here we are seeing about, as I mentioned, 80% of recovery rates.
Transportation services increased its GDP by 19%. Hotels and restaurant services increased by 80%. Construction and related activities increased by 15% due to many resumed projects. Those operating in this field of construction emphasized that there is hope that the country's economy will continue to grow as before COVID-19 outbreak. Currently, things are going well. After COVID-19 reduction, the projects were resumed. There was some project that was stopped, but were resumed, including Masaka Hospital. As you saw it in different work sites, the activities is going on. Even the constructors are back on sites. This means that the life is getting better, comparing to during COVID-19. 250 billion was added to the Economic Development Fund, while at the beginning it was 100 billion and 50% was given to the hotels and tourism activities. The Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda Development Board, RDB, Claire Kamanzi, points that this government assistance based on institutions that was destabilized than others.
Kubera icyorezo cya COVID-19 ngira ngo niba hari sector yabaye affected cyane n'ubukerarugendo kurusha n'izindi zose.
Because of COVID-19 pandemic, the tourism sector was one of the sectors that were affected more than others. We established the economic recovery funds of over 50 million to facilitate hotels so that when tourism activities are back, they will be able to perform well. The government as well enforced to help them host meetings and tourists, hence to reach this rate of 80%, which is good. But we also want to get more than 100% of amount we earned before COVID-19 outbreak, because we want to reach far.
Kugera kuri 100% y'amafaranga twabonaga mbere y'icyorezo tunaharenge kuko aho dushaka kugenda ni kure cyane.
Regardless, major players in the sector like agriculture, industry and services have confirmed that the rise in prices on the international market has affected their production cost this year at the rate of 7.4% from 4.7% in 2021. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Now, local residents in different areas say that they have taken measures to protect themselves from effects of natural disasters caused by heavy rains and have been encouraged to set up the necessary infrastructure to trap rainwater and ensure that the foundations of their homes are properly secured. More in this report from Manzi Prince.
There have been several cases of the heavy rainfall that resulted into deaths of some and also destruction of properties, including houses of habitants. Citizens say that thanks to the mobilization of local leaders, they are now ready to prevent themselves from the aftermath of the heavy rainfall.
Like for me in my home, there are water tanks, and we put out measures to prevent soil erosion if the rain falls, and also we tighten our roofs.
For preventing disasters, those who are constructing houses, they are tightening their roofs. We normally take a tree after making a hole in your roof and use wires and nails to tighten it. We are not afraid of the heavy rainfall. As for now, we are tightening our roofs and we put down spouts on our houses. We were mobilized in our respective villages, cells, sectors, districts, and also we are informed via radios. The Director General of the Rwanda Meteorology Agency, Aimable Gahigi, states that even though the statistics reveal that the heavy rainfall will be at a lower rate than ever before, they are ready as to when it can also be the opposite. It is obvious that the rain will fall on a lower rate than what we normally had, but it's also not at the same level in all parts of the country. There are some places that we have a higher rate, between 400 and 500 millimeters. Some we have between 300 and 400 millimeters, and others, especially the eastern part of the country, will be between 200 and 300 millimeters. People should not be worried because there are measurements undertaken by the government, and that is why I told you that we collaborate with all levels of governance. When any of these levels have a hint of how things are getting, they place some measures earlier. The ministry in charge of emergency management also advises habitants in high-risk zones to move out before the rainy season begins. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
A group of delegates from Djibouti in charge of social welfare of the people and management of refugees commended the way Rwanda uses funds to help refugees learn and develop without waiting for national or foreign aid. Jane Mutoni explores.
This group of delegates from Djibouti have spent days in Rwanda and were given an update on the life of refugees and different ways to help them find solutions. They visited the Mahama camp in Kirehe district, which accommodates about 58,000 refugees. Some of the refugees presented different projects they've been working on, including crafts, businesses, and various infrastructures that bring them income.
These trees you see, they planted them so that we can breathe fresh air, because this area is desert-like.
We have clinics, markets, and schools close to us. Our children go to the schools that are near. The representative of the United Nations in Djibouti, Yehundam Kul Sakor, commended the way refugees in Rwanda are taken care of and stressed that even though the two countries are small, they will not lose sight of the plan to receive and care for refugees.
À ce que nous avons eu comme briefing stratégique et sur les plans que le Rwanda a mis en place pour l'intégration.
Among the solid measures that Rwanda has taken is to include refugees in different programs, and we do the same in Djibouti. Take an example in education. In Djibouti, the Ministry of Education manages refugee schools, and that goes the same for the medical services. The Ministry of Health in Djibouti manages the camps clinics.
Pour le domaine de la santé, au niveau de Djibouti, nous avons le ministère de la Santé qui gère le poste de santé que nous avons dans les camps.
The head of the Mahama camp, Andre Vuganeza, says that the Djiboutian delegates visited all the activities that take place in the camp, especially the development projects.
We establish projects for refugees to develop themselves and look startup capital for them. We haven't reached at a satisfactory level, but we've already started to a point in 2 years. We will have some refugees that are self-sufficient. Some are into agriculture, others into livestock, and there are those in business.
The Secretary General in the Ministry of Interior of Djibouti, Siraj Omar Abdulkader, says that what they have seen in Rwanda concerning the management of refugees is something to learn from.
On ne peut que féliciter le Rwanda de mettre tout en œuvre pour essayer de faire en sorte que les séjours.
I want to thank Rwanda for all the efforts it has put in taking care of the refugees have and ensuring that they are comfortable. It is truly implicable, which is why me and fellow delegates are here to learn from Rwanda, be it in education, health, welfare, and as we all know, Rwanda and Djibouti are among the smallest countries in the world. Hence the efforts so we not stop doing those things on a daily basis. We shall do everything possible to take care of the refugees.
Faire les choses, on améliore chaque jour parce que les besoins sont aussi différents. Il y a de nouveaux besoins quand on arrive à satisfaire un besoin.
Mahama camp accommodates 58,000 refugees consisting of Burundians and those from the Democratic Republic of Congo who live in more than 16,500 houses and covers 160 hectares of land. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
That's our TV news for this Saturday. Thank you so much for watching. I am Isabel Masozera. Always a pleasure bringing you the latest here in Rwanda and beyond. Please take care of yourself and those around you. See you tomorrow.